Have you ever noticed how the men who care the most frequently wind up feeling the most alone? It's a weird irony, isn't it, to put your heart into someone and then watch them withdraw? It can feel unfair and confused, as if showing too much concern is somehow a sign of weakness. Error. But this everyday occurrence teaches us a valuable lesson about the underlying dynamics of attraction. In this video, we'll explore why showering affection and forgiving too much can backfire, and how striking the correct balance is essential to maintaining the spark. Alive by fusing interpersonal ideas with Stoic wisdom, this isn't your average relationship advice. Rather, it's a mindset shift that can completely alter the way you interact with other people. Let's start at number 1. We'll demonstrate how controlling your emotions can make you a more attractive and grounded partner. If you're prepared to unlock the secret of love and learn how ancient Stoic principles can improve your dating life, you're in the right place. The reasons why attachment diminishes your worth. Let's start with a stark reality. The intriguing part is that it's not love per se that drives women away from men who seem to care the most. Rather, it's the way that love manifests itself. When you show attachment too early, you're unintentionally sending a message that can be a big turnoff. I need you to feel complete because you're my only source of happiness. When you devote all of your time, energy, and attention to a woman from the beginning, it feels heavy, suffocating, and rooted in desperation rather than genuine connection. It may seem romantic on the surface, but what you're really doing is signaling scarcity. You're telling her, consciously or unconsciously, that you have no other options, no other priorities, and possibly no life outside of her. Instead of being seen as a self-assured, high-value man with a purpose, you're seen as someone whose entire world revolves around her. For instance, you meet someone new and immediately begin organizing your days around her, texting her, frequently canceling plans with friends just to see her. At first, she may enjoy the attention, but she soon starts to wonder why he is so available. Does he have no other interests or goals? Is he putting me on a pedestal because he believes I'm his only shot? This isn't about her wanting to play games or avoid you. Rather, it's about her natural desire to be with a confident man who is on his own path and isn't looking to her for approval. Mementos, Stoic practice. Mori, which means remember that you must die, is a potent reminder of life's transience. It's not intended to be depressing. Rather, it's a call to concentrate on what really counts. When you adopt this mentality, because you know that all relationships, no matter how long-lasting, are just temporary. This doesn't mean you shouldn't love someone profoundly. Rather, it means you shouldn't focus all of your happiness and sense of worth on one person. Live a happy life filled with your own passions, objectives, and pursuits by applying this Stoic philosophy. You automatically become more appealing when you live with purpose and concentrate on your own path. True connection is based on mutual respect and admiration rather than dependency, and men who lose themselves in the pursuit of love frequently lose the love they so desperately sought. You're not chasing, you're leading, you're not looking for validation, and this is what makes you stand out and keeps her interested. Essentially, don't be the man who seeks approval and validation. Instead, be the man who creates a life so full and fulfilling that she wants to be a part of it. When you live this way, you'll notice that women aren't leaving because you care. Rather, they are drawn to men who are whole and complete on their own, and who choose them voluntarily. The moment you start sacrificing your identity in order to keep her, you've already lost it. Instead, build your own strength and self-worth and observe how the dynamics change. Why she loses interest, the true reason she loses interest. Most men are unaware of this, but when a woman loses interest, it's often linked to a strong subconscious drive known as hypergamy. Before you dismiss this as shallow or materialistic, Know that it's a deeply ingrained biological instinct that guides women's choices even when they aren't fully aware of it. This instinct is as old as human nature itself, and when you show her how much you care, prioritize her, and make her the center of your world, you may think that you will win her over, but in reality, it frequently works the opposite. She begins to wonder, if he's this eager to lock me down, is he really the best I can do? And why isn't he acting like a man with other options? She is driven by hypergamy to seek out indications of power and high worth, and a man who is overly eager too soon may come out as missing these attributes. It's not that she doesn't appreciate your effort. Think about this situation. A man who appears to have it all, he's successful, physically fit, self-assured, and articulate, is the perfect partner on paper. But if he begins to obsessively text a woman, rearranging his schedule to accommodate her, and making her his top priority before the relationship is even formed, he unintentionally lowers his worth in her opinion. Despite his outward appearance, his actions reveal a lack of inner power and abundance. Rather than projecting a sense of self-control, he comes across as desperate and needy, which is when she begins to distance herself. It's crucial to recognize that she is not a bad person because of this. Her intuition is merely pointing her in the direction of the person she believes to be the most capable and powerful mate. Finding the wealthiest or most expensive man isn't the goal of hypergamy. Rather, it's about being attracted to a man who oozes confidence, self-assurance, and the capacity to prosper on one's own. Instead of fighting against hypergamy or resenting women for having these instincts, the Stoic idea of amor fati, or the love of fate, teaches us to accept and embrace everything that occurs in life, including the instincts of others that we cannot control. This embraces the reality of human nature, with the exception that you cannot control a woman's preferences or her subconscious drives, but you can control how you respond. Use amor fati as a reminder to concentrate on the things you can alter in your own behavior, personal development, and self-improvement. When you make an effort to improve yourself, you will inevitably draw in better partners. Before we move on to the next point, let's take a moment to reflect. It's easy to get caught up in analyzing her actions and wondering what went wrong, but remember that the real change starts with you. This is where true confidence comes from, not from trying to win someone over, but from knowing that you are enough. So, instead of worrying about whether she's losing interest, ask yourself, am I living up to my own potential? Am I creating a life I'm proud of regardless of who is by my side? In the comments, I emphasize becoming the best version of myself. By doing this, you're not just participating. You're committing to put your development and self-respect first. Adopt the mindset of a high-value man and see how everything else starts to fall into place. Let's continue viewing number 3. The risks associated with the perils of making emotional choices. Making emotional decisions. This is a crucial error that many guys make in relationships. They allow their feelings to control their choices. It seems natural at first because love and excitement are strong emotions that can easily take over, but when you start making decisions only because of these ephemeral feelings, you put yourself in danger because emotional decisions can quickly lead you to compromise your values, sacrifice your goals, and start to shape your entire life around her. Although this may appear to be love or devotion, it actually weakens your body and jeopardizes your relationship as a whole. Consider the last time you made a snap decision to appease someone you care about. You may have changed your entire schedule at her request, or you may have abandoned a personal project to spend more time with her. In the moment, this may seem like you're showing her how much you value her, but over time, it creates an imbalance as she begins to perceive you as a man who is prone to emotional outbursts and lacks a firm grasp on his own life. This doesn't make her feel more secure. On the contrary, she starts to wonder if you're able to make strong, logical decisions when it matters most. A woman wants a partner who can be her rock, not someone who is tossed around by every emotion. When you prioritize logic and reason, you create stability and become a man who can be relied upon to make the right decision even when emotions are high. This doesn't mean repressing your feelings or acting like a robot. Rather, it means integrating your emotions with your principles and using them as signals rather than commands. A healthy relationship is built on a strong foundation, and that foundation begins with you. If you're constantly making decisions based on how you feel at the moment, you're building a house on sand, and it may stand for a while, but eventually the cracks will show. Your emotions can guide you, but they shouldn't control everything you do. The Stoic philosopher Seneca taught that true wisdom is in behaving in accordance with our ideals rather than just our impulses, which is why women respect men who can combine their emotions with reason and who know when to follow their hearts and when to follow their heads. It's simple to make decisions in the heat of the moment based on what feels good, whether that be avoiding conflict, appeasing someone, or giving in to a transient emotion. However, Seneca reminds us that these choices frequently lead us astray, and that we should instead pursue a path of moral clarity, making decisions that are consistent with our long-term objectives and core values. Consider your values as your compass. They keep you on course even when the waves are breaking and help you traverse the rough seas of emotions. Around you, you gain respect and trust from both her and yourself when you uphold your principles and make choices that are true to who you are. A strong guy doesn't deny his feelings, but he also doesn't allow them to control him. He accepts them, absorbs their lessons, and then decides on a course of action that is consistent with his objectives and principles. The next time you feel the need to make a snap decision to win her approval, take a step back and ask yourself if this is in line with your values or if you are making this decision because it feels right at the moment. By leading with reason and tempering it with a healthy dose of emotion, you demonstrate to her that you are not just any man, but rather a man of substance, a man she can respect and rely on, and that is what makes you truly magnetic. This type of emotional discipline is uncommon but extremely attractive because it signals maturity and strength. The fourth thing that women want strength over attachment. Women are hardwired to look for a partner who is strong and resilient, someone who can offer security and stability, especially during uncertain times when you become emotionally reliant on her all the time. This causes an automatic reaction in which she begins to wonder how he can be the strong protector if he can't even stand on his own. It is a deeply ingrained biological reaction rather than a conscious idea. Consider two different kinds of men, but the second man is self-assured. He cares for her deeply, but isn't consumed by the relationship. He's focused on his own purpose and goals, and while he enjoys her company, he doesn't rely on it for his happiness. Now ask yourself, which man do you think she finds more attractive? The first is someone who constantly needs her attention, constantly checking in to seek her reassurance and adjusting his life around her. He thinks he's being attentive, but in reality, he's revealing that he needs her presence to feel secure. It's the man who stands strong on his own. He's the one who demonstrates to her through his actions that he can handle whatever life throws at him. This type of inner strength is magnetic because it signals that he's a leader, someone she can trust, especially when challenges arise. Throughout human history, strength was a sign of survival. Strong men were the ones who could protect, provide, and lead, while the weak men relied on others for support. Even in the modern world, these instincts haven't vanished. They still play a significant role in attraction dynamics. When you exhibit emotional dependence and attachment too early, it raises red flags in her mind. She begins to wonder if he's this attached now, and how he'll handle challenges and remain composed when things get tough. She wants a spouse who can demonstrate love without losing himself in the process, not that she doesn't desire a caring and loving relationship. The Stoics had a potent theory of strength. They held that genuine power originates from inside rather than from outside validation, and that inner strength and self-reliance were the cornerstones of their beliefs. When you embody the Stoic principle, you become the type of man who doesn't need others to validate his existence because you're confident in your own abilities, your own path, and your own decisions. Epicurus once said that no man is free who is not master of himself. This means that in order to be TR attractive, you must first become self-reliant and develop a sense of worth that doesn't fluctuate based on someone else's opinion of you. Because it demonstrates that you are a guy of substance who doesn't break under duress, this independence is quite alluring. Here's the reality: women are looking for a partner, not a project. They don't want someone they have to carry emotionally. They want someone who can stand beside them as an equal or even lead when needed. If you're constantly seeking her approval, you become a burden rather than a source of strength. Instead, focus on building yourself up, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Be the man who cares deeply but doesn't lose his sense of self. Show her that while you value her, you're strong enough to walk your own path. When you develop this kind of inner resilience, you naturally become the partner she craves. You're no longer just another man seeking her attention. You're the man she wants to stand by because she knows you have the strength to weather any storm together. Now let's take a moment to internalize this mindset. Understanding the power of inner strength over attachment can transform not only how you approach relationships, but also how you see yourself. So if you're ready to embrace this shift, I would like you to take a moment to type. Go ahead and type it out. Let it resonate, and let this affirmation serve as the cornerstone of the self-assured man you're becoming. Number 5. I am strong, confident, and self-reliant. It's about recognizing your own worth independent of anyone else. It's a powerful reminder that your strength and confidence come from within, not from seeking validation. The gradual fading, the slow, fades reason. The reason. She withdraws women rarely end a relationship abruptly and dramatically. Instead, they gradually distance themselves in subtle, nearly imperceptible ways. One day, everything seems fine, but then you notice that she's texting less, responding less quickly, and isn't as eager to make plans. Her warmth also begins to wane. The symptoms are there, but most guys are too emotionally invested to notice them. It's a subtle disengagement, but don't be fooled. Evidently, choosing to slow fading is rarely an impulse choice. Usually it stems from unresolved emotional demands and accumulated doubts rather than facing the problems head-on. Head-on, she starts to make room. This slow distance acts as a safety net of sorts, allowing her to emote ally, detach before making a final decision. It also allows her to test the waters to see if she really wants to leave or if the relationship can be saved without a dramatic confrontation. Men frequently overlook these indicators because they are preoccupied with their own emotional investments and believe that everything must be all right if she hasn't said anything directly. But in actuality, her actions scream louder than words ever could. When you're deeply committed in a relationship, it can be difficult to recognize the slow fade symptoms, so if you're not paying close attention, you'll miss the subtle clues and be caught off guard when she finally informs you that it's over. You genuinely want things to go so well that you overlook her subtle. Instead, you try to convince yourself that she's simply going through a phase or that she's busy with other things in her life, but you know deep down that something has changed. Admitting this is difficult because it makes you face the idea that she's retreating. One of Marcus Aurelius's, the great Stoic philosophers, frequently stressed the value of having an objective perspective and allowing emotions to play a supporting role. He wrote, cloud our vision. You have control over your thoughts, not external circumstances. Recognize this, and you will find strength in the slow fading. This is studying her behavior without making snap judgments or allowing your feelings to control your reaction. For example, if you see her withdrawing, don't freak out. Instead, engage in mindful observation and pay attention to her actions without being preoccupied with what you wish they represented. Examine the matter objectively. Does she try to reach out to you? Does she start discussions, or do you always reach out? Do her words and actions match, or is there a discrepancy? By evaluating the situation calmly, you can answer intelligently rather than rashly. The worst thing you can do if you think she's pushing away is, this doesn't mean you ignore her or play games. Rather, it means you respect her need for space and that you're confident enough to let her come to you when she's ready. This approach shows her that you're not desperate to keep her around at all costs and that you value yourself enough to let the relationship flow naturally rather than forcing it. Chase harder instead. Give her space, respect the distance she's creating, and use this time to focus on yourself. This kind of inner strength is what makes you unique and the kind of man she regrets losing number 6. If she is truly interested, she will notice this calm, confident response and may return with renewed interest. If not, you've saved yourself the agony of clinging to someone who was already halfway out the door. Everything revolves around the emotions. She experiences emotions. Let's clarify one issue. Women are not attracted to checklists. Your height, income, and appearance are not the only factors that matter. Those characteristics may catch her eye at first, but they aren't what keep her interested over time. What keeps her interested and makes her fall in love with you are the emotions you arouse in her. The high, the thrill, the comfort, and even the occasional challenge are what really count. If you're overly dependable, or if you only concentrate on your outward appearance, you run the risk of being forgettable, even though you may initially seem remarkable. Have you ever seen how a woman might be attracted to a man who isn't the most attractive person in the room, doesn't own the most expensive automobile, or has the largest financial account? It's because he understands that attraction is more about emotional connection than checking off a list of desirable traits. On the other hand, you could be the most conventionally attractive guy, tall, fit, successful, but if your interactions with her are always the same, if you're too predictable and don't stir a range of emotions, she'll eventually lose interest. It's not because she's shallow or demanding, but rather because her attraction isn't based on logic. It's based on how you make her feel when she's around you. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing you need to check certain boxes to keep her interested. Looks, money, status. But the truth is that if you don't see how important emotional involvement is, you can have all of them and still suffer in relationships. Women are perceptive and can tell when a man is leading with his resume rather than his heart. It's hollow, as if you're focusing on these outside issues rather than connecting with her and attempting to impress her. Concentrate on your controllable aspects, such as your appearance, your presence, and the energy you bring to every interaction. Are you completely involved, or are you merely acting? Are you giving her a genuine sense of attraction, or are you depending on superficial characteristics? As Epictetus once said, it doesn't matter what happens to you. What matters is how you respond to it. Although you have no control over her feelings, you do have power over the type of man you choose to be when you live a life that is genuine and purposeful. What really captivates her is the emotional experience you naturally generate. You're not trying to be someone you're not. You're just being the finest version of yourself. At the end of the day, women remember the feelings you give them far more than the words you say or the possessions you own. They remember the thrill of being around you, the comfort of your presence, and the way you made them feel seen and understood. It's not about being perfect, it's about being real when you can evoke a range of emotions. This is the man who is confident in his own skin, who isn't chasing approval, and who lives life with passion and intention. Instead of concentrating on developing a list of qualities, work on being a guy who can provide an emotional experience she can't find anywhere else. Lead with your honesty and create a strong, enduring connection with joy, curiosity, passion, and even a little tension. True attraction is created when you embrace who you are and allow your relationships to unfold organically. This is what makes you, if you're still with me, it will be unforgettable. Now is your chance to commit to the mentality change we've been discussing, so please take a moment to write in the comments section, "I'm focusing on the emotion connection." By doing this, you're reaffirming your desire to be the type of man who generates unforgettable experiences rather than merely checking boxes. Number 7 is the necessity for taking a modest move that can have a large influence. Let's continue and investigate how you can deepen this understanding. It is necessary to have both imagination and fantasy. When you take away that sense of mystery, you kill the thrill and leave no room for her imagination to wander. Without mystery, there is no anticipation, no excitement, just a flat, predictable routine that feels more like a duty than an adventure. Women thrive on imagination and fantasy. They live for the thrill of the unknown, the thrill of possibility, and the allure of what could be. Why do women find romance and adventure stories with unexpected turns and surprises so appealing? When you make yourself too available or predictable, you take away the unknown and become like an open book. She has already read, cover to cover, comforting but no longer exciting. This is because these stories feed into the desire for an emotional journey, a narrative that isn't clear or laid out from the beginning. Instead, it's the whiffs, the moments of uncertainty, and the anticipation of what's coming next that keep her captivated. When she calls, you always drop everything for her, and she knows precisely how you'll react in every circumstance. Rather than igniting her imagination, you become a safe haven, a realistic choice that doesn't arouse interest or passion. The Stoics held that life should be lived fully, accepting of obstacles and following passions with a purpose. In the context of relationships, the philosopher Seneca stated that we do not venture because things are tough, not because they are difficult. This means following your own path and pursuing your own interests naturally creates an appealing atmosphere of mystery and adventure when you dare to live a dynamic and exciting life. This isn't about attempting to create a fake feeling of mystery or acting like someone you're not. It's about truly developing a dynamic lifestyle that is passionate about exploration and open to venturing outside of your comfort zone. You don't have to pretend to be distant or play tricks to keep her interested when you live this way. Your sincere enthusiasm for life will compel her to share in your tale. Women are attracted to guys who can provide them with more than stability because they enjoy the thrill of adventure, the excitement of an adventure. You become more than just a partner when you can infuse the relationship with mystery and fantasy. Rather than being predictable all the time, you become an escape from the everyday, a source of inspiration, and a spark of excitement in her life. This sense of adventure isn't something you can fake. It comes from genuinely living a life that is vibrant and full of purpose. In the end, it's not the list of attributes that makes her fall in love. Rather, it's the way you make her feel by bringing a sense of imagination. So embrace the unknown, follow your passions, explore new interests, and keep evolving. Let her wonder about you, imagine the experiences you're having, and feel the excitement of not knowing what's coming next. You provide her with a reason to return for more, by bringing mystery and intrigue into her world. Number 8. The more you demonstrate the power of controlled indifference, the more she tries to hang on, the more she is willing to leave. This is not about being heartless or cold, but rather about exhibiting controlled indifference. And this is not the same as playing games or displaying indifference. When a woman senses that you're not afraid to lose her, it flips a psychological switch that makes you the prize she suddenly feels compelled to win. The more elusive something is, the more we crave it. This is basic human psychology. We want what we can't easily have. When you show controlled indifference, you signal that your world doesn't revolve around her, and this subtle detachment piques her interest. She asks why he isn't chasing me like everyone else. It's the kind of calm confidence that says, I want you, but I don't need you to feel complete. Instead of seeing you as the self-assured, confident man she wants to be with, she begins to see you as someone who lacks options, and nothing is less attractive than desperation. On the other hand, when you're constantly trying to win her approval, going out of your way to make her happy, and demonstrating that you're afraid of losing her, you end up pushing her away. What makes him so confident? What does he know that I don't? This curiosity increases desire and makes her more invested in the chase. It's important to realize that managed indifference differs from disinterest. You're not ignoring her or seeming aloof in order to manipulate her. You're just demonstrating that although you appreciate her presence, you also respect your independence and are prepared to let things unfold organically without pressuring the relationship or jeopardizing your personal goals. Because it is founded on sincere self-confidence rather than a deliberate strategy, this type of energy feels captivating and honest. The man who masters this equilibrium becomes incredibly desirable. He is the one who isn't influenced by her attempts to influence him or flustered by her testing. Chase is the type of partner she feels fortunate to have since he values his own time and energy. She wants to win him over specifically because he isn't attempting to win her over with his stoic demeanor. Epicus, a philosopher, taught us the value of distancing oneself from outside events. He held that genuine freedom stems from prioritizing one's own autonomy over all others. According to him, freedom is the only worthwhile objective in life, and it is attained by ignoring circumstances that are out of our control in interpersonal relationships. When you practice detachment, you don't become overly invested in whether she stays or leaves, and you're not always concerned about where the relationship is going or how she feels about you at any given time. Instead, you concentrate on being the best version of yourself, living in accordance with your values, and letting things happen organically. This attitude is liberating because it gives you control over your own emotions and happiness. You are no longer a slave to her approval or answers. When you demonstrate to her that you are a man who respects himself and isn't afraid to lose her, you change the dynamic and make her realize that she is the one who needs to work to keep your attention, not the other way around. Keep in mind that the most magnetic men are those who are self-assured, don't seek validation, and live life on their own terms. By adopting controlled indifference and practicing stoic detachment, you become that man who is strong, self-assured, and ultimately irresistible. As we wrap up this video, it's time to consider what we've covered today. This leads us back to the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, which teaches us to value self-control, self-respect, and the significance of focusing on what we can control with regard to our own actions and responses. The reason why excessive care and affection can sometimes backfire in relationships is not because love itself is the issue, but rather how that love is expressed and perceived. When affection turns into attachment or emotional dependency, it can create a dynamic where the other person feels overwhelmed or worse, trapped. Applying this to relationships means that you lead with confidence and a sense of inner purpose, rather than losing yourself in the chase of approval from others. You stay grounded, centered, and true to your values when you adopt this mindset. And you naturally become more attractive because you embody the traits of a strong, independent partner who doesn't seek validation but instead creates a life that others want to be a part of. Let's not forget the main takeaway here. It's not about caring less, but about caring wisely, showing affection, but doing so from a place of abundance rather than scarcity, giving love without making it your only source of identity or happiness. Maintaining your personal interests, objectives, and passions outside of the partnership is essential for maintaining the dynamic. Before we wind up, being healthy keeps you from coming out as needy and eventually permits love to blossom without sacrificing your sense of self. Consider whether you are living your life in a way that aligns with your own goals and ideals, or whether you are making too many sacrifices for the acceptance of others. Think about that for a moment. The solution might be a profound epiphany that changes the way you view relationships going forward. I urge you to use these realizations in your daily life. When you exhibit these traits, you won't only be the type of partner women are drawn to, you'll also be the type of person who feels content and at peace regardless of the outcome of the relationship. Thank you for joining me on this journey of self-reflection and growth. Be the man who's confident in his own skin, who offers love without losing his identity, and who leads with strength and authenticity. If you thought today's conversation was worthwhile, please like the video as it really aids the channel. Please share your opinions in the comments section. Have you ever fallen victim to the dangers of overcaring? How do you keep your own relationships in balance? Please subscribe for more content on Stoic Relationship Mastery and share your experiences so that we may all learn from each other. To learn more about these concepts, view the suggested videos that are displayed on the screen. Once again, thank you for viewing, and keep in mind, living a life where love is a choice rather than a need is where true power resides.